Liverpool 2, Man United 2. Against your expectations, against my expectations, against even probably the players' expectations. Somehow, out of nowhere, we have got a draw at Anfield. Now, you'd think I'd be happier, but that last miss from Maguire still will haunt me. I don't know for how long. But the fact that we could have maybe won at Anfield, but that shouldn't take away from the performance and what a big result it is. Even if it's just a point, the fact that people, even including myself, were predicting that we'd lose by 3 or 4 or 5, and we came to Anfield, and in my opinion, we deserve the draw. On the balance of the game, we played a counter-attacking game, but unlike other times, when we usually get a point at Anfield, how does it work? We probably get a draw just because we parked the bus for the entire game. We don't get any chances, but we just make sure that Liverpool, they can do whatever they like, but we are going to park that bus in front of them. This time, we weren't doing that. In the first half, probably one of the best chances fell to Højlund, which he missed. And even corner-wise, we were the most threatening compared to Liverpool in the first half. Second half is when Liverpool grew into the game a bit. Just like us a little bit. The second half team talks probably changed everything for them. And they started playing with a little bit more energy. But even that wasn't enough. Yes, we scored. And then after that, Liverpool got one back. And then once Anfield gets going, then you pretty much resign. That's how it usually is. At Liverpool, you concede 1-1 and it's pretty much game over from there. It goes 2-1, 3-1 and then it depends on the scoreline that they want. And that's how it usually goes. But they got it 2-1 and I'll get to all the goals. Don't worry about it. We got to 2-1 and we thought game over. And suddenly, out of nowhere, now we have secured a draw at Anfield. A point which, nobody else is really getting. Fulham got it the other day and Forest won that at the start of the season. Apart from that, people don't get points at Anfield, guys. Real Madrid lost there. Man City lost there. Chelsea lost there. When Arsenal go there, they're going to lose there. This is not a place where we should take lightly, guys. We should actually be celebrating this point. But given the circumstances, sometimes you might say, okay, we could have got more. But that's not to say that the team does not deserve it. Let's get to the big players of today, the big performers, at least from our team. 3 standout moments. Number 1, I'd have to say Ugarte throughout the game. This is class. Now this is just like how Mazraoui showed in certain games. Ugarte is just giving us a steady performance. This is not anything extraordinary. This is not something very bad. This is just perfect. This is a steady 6, a steady 7 every week we're getting from Ugarte now. So basically, Amorim's system is working for Ugarte. Why? Because he is an Amorim player. And if anything else was to give you an indication, and I was already saying that, he's making a few mistakes. And he is making a few mistakes. But one thing we can say for sure is his system is flawless. And we can work on that system. And once he gets his players, I'm sure he'll be successful. I'm sure. The only Amorim player that we have right now is Ugarte. And we can see how much he's improved. You remember how he was playing under Ten Hag? We were like, 50 million for this guy. We wasted all our money. And now every big game that we play, any game that we have a good performance in, it's because Ugarte really performed. And it's because he is the guy in the midfield. Despite Bruno, despite Kobe not being as defensively solid, he's still covering up for them. At the same time, playing the ball forward. Now, how often do we see that? Now, imagine, change Bruno or Kobe in the midfield to somebody like an Edison. Somebody who can really progress, who can really play with the ball and has the defensive ability as well. Now, you're going to see a different team. And also, along with Ugarte, I'll have to also say Maguire was good. Yes, guys, I know Maguire missed it at the end. We could have won at Anfield. But never, ever confuse the two. A miss is a miss. But a performance is a performance. And for that performance from Maguire at the back, I'll give him props. Today, he was very solid. Ugarte was solid. Maguire was solid. He came back to somewhat of his normal levels today. And that one tackle from Euro literally saved us at the end. Where we had a corner. And now they countered, and then Lenny Euro came out of nowhere and stopped the danger when it needed to be stopped. Let's say he did not dive in. Guys, we were screwed. Whether that was Jota, whether that was Gakpo, whoever that was there, we would have been in big, big, big trouble. And we were saved. And adding on to the good performances, Garnacho off the bench actually did make an impact today. He was being used as one thing and only one thing, as an outlet, with the sole intention that we're going to launch the ball to you, you just cause some havoc. And he put the ball into danger area, whether he knew about it or not. He did put it into the danger area, and then Ahmad scores. And pretty much that gives us the 2-2. And if not for Garnacho's substitution, I think we would have lost that game. Why? Because I don't think there's any other player on that bit. Because I don't think there's any player on that bench who would even try this kind of reckless passes. Because Bruno was suffering, let's be honest. Today, Bruno was suffering. Apart from a few moments towards the end of the second half, Bruno was struggling throughout the entire game. And all we have to do is what? Stop playing him in the 10, play him in the 8. Because if you're going to persist with Bruno at some point in the midfield, then you might as well drop him deeper with Ugarte. Because now he can do the running part. And you can push Meno up front. Meno, if you ask me, today on the ball, he was solid. But okay, again, when it comes to pivot, when it comes to defensively, he was a 50-50. And you have to think about it, that's not his game. So you can't really expect him to play in the pivot one way. So, which is why when I judge Mino right now, I'm not judging him as a defensive player. I'm judging him as an offensive player. Because why? That's his quality. And that's what we know he can do the best. And that's what he knows he can do the best. So I'm going to judge, how does he control the ball? How does he progress the ball? And that's not pretty decent. When it comes to actually getting in there, then he's not probably the best at it. And if there was one thing that I said in my preview that actually did come true today, that the only chance we have of getting anything from this Liverpool game is if Liverpool have a bad day. But to be specific, when I say bad day, today Liverpool was not having a bad day per se. Yes, in comparison to their usual days, yes, they were having a bad day. But remember that we sort of stifled them. The system that we played sort of did stifle them. Yes, they were creating chances, but it wasn't as fluid as it sometimes is. And you can see when Mo Salah has a bad day, Liverpool has a bad day. But the simple thing is, guys, Amorim definitely coached a draw, which we somehow got. And we have not been getting what we have deserved in certain games. But today we got it. And that's what's important. So now that that's all out of the way, unfortunately, like we always have to say, with all the positives in even the best games, we will sometimes have a negative. And who was that negative today, guys? You want to take a guess before I tell you? Yep, it was Rasmus Højlund. Did you see how much of a liability Højlund was? Forget the finishing part. Forget the chance he had one-on-one against Alisson. But how much of a liability he was when it comes to linking play, when it came to really holding the ball down. This is what I always say, guys. You look back at all the Højlund highlights of this game, and you will see, even if you do not agree with me that Zirkzee is a good player, that's fine. But do not tell me that Zirkzee will not offer more to this team than Højlund. Let's just compare 1 and 1. Don't tell me both are shit, because that's not an argument. If you are to choose this player, Zirkzee and Højlund, and you don't rate either of them, who would you choose? Probably the guy who's creating chances. And if you say Zirkzee doesn't create chances, just look at the last action that happened in this game. Technically, Zirkzee could have shot. And if he had tried a shot, I don't think anybody would have said, oh, what is he doing? He should have squared it. Probably not. But he still saw the option that Maguire was right there and he squared it. And this is why, guys, I keep saying, this is why I keep advocating for Zirkzee. This is what he can do. But all we have to do is just trust him. And given that, Rasmus Højlund has to leave, guys. What is his role? Now we have seen Højlund has many starts. And he's had many starts under Ruud, whether that's Ten Hag, whether that's now Amorim. He started most of the games. Now he started all the games. Zirkzee hasn't got a chance to start the games, yet he's having more of an impact, whether that's goals, whether that's assists, whether that's actual link-up play, aesthetics, whatever you call it. Zirkzee triumphs over Højlund every time. And you can also say, why is Dalot starting? Because again, he's a liability. If you think about it, the cross that he put in, I know some people might think Ahmad should get to it. The cross was behind him. I don't know how anybody expects him to get on the ball. But that's what happened. And that's all on Dalot. Dalot should calculate the cross and he should calculate the position of the attacker and anticipate where the attacker is going to be. That's his job. Guys, we should understand Dalot should just be shipped off. If anybody still defends Dalot, guys, we can sell him to Madrid for 50 million. Even if you think he's this world-class player, don't you think if we can get rid of him, even for 20, 30 million, it's worth it? Of course it is. Because now we can reinvest that money and buy somebody who could actually impact the team immediately. And what about that? Like, that is what we want after all. And now before we end, let's just go through the goals very quickly. First of all, the first goal that we scored, Lisandro Martinez just happened to be in the position, smacked it home, and that is what you need to do, guys. If you're not confident with shooting, right? If you're a footballer, let's say you're playing in your local league, you're not a very good finisher. If you are close to the box and you have the ball, don't try to do something fancy, just smack the ball like Martinez did. That's what you're supposed to do. And simply, that's all he did. Instinctual, goal, and now we're 1-0 up at Anfield. Now, we knew at that point, we need 2-0 or we're screwed. If they make it 1-1, they're probably making it 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. At least that's what I thought. And that's when, 6 minutes later, Gakpo picks it up and he completely fools De Ligt. He drops De Ligt on his ass, he pulls away, and top corner, guys. That's one of the best finishes I've seen this season, at least. Top corner, top to the most top. Like, you can't see a better finish than that. And that was power. That was a finish. That reminded me of something like Rashford's goal against Liverpool at Old Trafford, if you know, from 2018. Only that was bottom corner. This is right in the top corner. This was in the ceiling. And yeah, that was an amazing finish. Then let's talk about this, guys. Was the penalty on De Ligt's handball a penalty or no? If you ask me, initially I said definite penalty. Yep, Liverpool should get it, and that's fair. But when you look at it again, you see that the distance between De Ligt and the ball coming through was like this. So he doesn't even have time to react. So the rule is, number one, if your hand is in an unnatural position like his was, like this, then if the ball touches your hand, it's a penalty. Otherwise, there's also one more condition where proximity is very important. Let's say the ball was headed from 5 meters away from me. That's a plausible cause for a penalty because there's enough distance for me to measure where the ball is going. Now I know where it's going. Now I can predict, okay, the ball's going to go here. So if I raise my hand, I could maybe escape with it, and you don't, and it's a penalty. But in De Ligt's case, it was probably less than a meter. It's like hardly any distance. Now the ball is coming. It's smacked into your arms. Now your arms are just like this. It hits your hand, and next thing you know, it's a penalty. I don't think it's a penalty. Comment down below what you think. I don't really think it's a penalty. But Salah gets it, converts it. Onana was close. He wasn't even far away from saving that. But it's 2-1. At that point, we think game over, finished. Manager brings on Garnacho. At that point, I'm thinking, what are you doing bringing on Garnacho of all people? But fair enough, I was wrong. Because Garnacho was our best substitute today. He came on, he changed the game, he influenced the game. And whether we like it or not, he put in the cross for Ahmad, and 2-2 we go. And that was Liverpool 2, Man United 2. Comment down below what you thought about this game, and see you all in the next one.